What's up, guys? I think we're at part 12 of the CD collection. Finally going to wrap up the A section and move into the B's. So let's just jump right in it. First up, we have some post rock, kind of very atmospheric type stuff. This is the Autumn Project with a Burning Light. I picked this up from Redstream. It's been several years ago now. This was a blind buy. This was released on Deep Send Records. It's not bad. Like I said, it's very atmospheric, post rocky. There's some like a little acoustic passages and stuff going on in this. I mean, it's good mood music. It's not something that I'm just gonna pull off the shelf all the time and listen to. But for what it is, it's not bad. Next up, we have some melodic death doom. This is Autumnia. This is my favorite release from that band. This is O Funeralia. Pretty good. This was released on Solitude Productions. Very melodic type stuff. Slow as most Death Doom is. I believe this band is out of the Ukraine. I could possibly be wrong on that, but I believe they're from the Ukraine. I like it pretty good. That's my favorite full length. That's actually the only full length that I own from the band. I had this compilation from Autumnia. This is Two Faces of Autumn. This one's pretty good. It's got a mix of some of their earlier and latter material on here, but I do prefer the O Funeralia full length. I think they have two other full lengths in their discography. I've just never really sought them out. This is pretty much all that I've ever got from them. Next up, we have some gothic doom metal. This is Ava and Fairy. This is going to be my favorite release, either their first or their sophomore release. I can't remember. This one's entitled Burdens. It was released on Season of Mist, and I don't see a date. That's surprising. Usually, Season of Mist has the dates on there. I don't like the digipacks that they released this one in. It's kind of this weird shaped digipack, but at least it has the prongs for the CD, so it's not the little slipcase digipack. It's pretty good, Gothic Doom. I do enjoy that one quite a bit. And I also picked up one of their earlier, I believe that's the debut, and this is like their third release. This is Ava and Fairy with Blood of Bacchus. This one's pretty good, but I do enjoy the earlier material a bit more. And this was also released on Season of Mist, as you could tell, just from the same packaging. This was released, I think, in 2009. I just noticed that Season of Mist has the little Roman numerals on the back, so maybe that was that's where I missed it on the previous. Next up, this is a band off of Transcending Records. I haven't listened to this one in a while. I'm wanting to say it's death metal that leans kind of deathcore-ish. This is Avarice with Martyr Earth. Like I said, I just haven't listened to this one in a while. It came out in 2018. Hasn't been out just too terribly long. But I do remember enjoying it, but I don't remember just a ton about it. I need to revisit this one. I think it came in at a time where I was getting a bunch of stuff in at the same time, and it may have just gotten neglected a little bit as far as my listening to it goes. Next up, we have some black metal out of Texas, and this was a band I was really into several years ago. We have Averse Sapphira, I believe that's how you pronounce that, with Battles Clarion. This one is a pretty good album. This one came out on Candlelight Records in 2007. There was a point where I wanted to grab up everything from Averse Sapphira. I only got 2 albums, so that's as far as I made it. At the time, it was like I was all about it. I haven't listened to them in a while now, but this next one is my favorite from the project. And I heard this album first from them, and I think this is what made me want to seek out more of their material. And nothing else quite stacked up to me as much as this one album did. So I am glad to have this one. This one's probably the one that has gotten the most playtime from me from this project. This is obviously a Versifier with Advent Parallax. Fantastic stuff here. I implore you to check this one out if you're into black metal. Most of you probably have already heard it. Not for your black metal purists, you might not enjoy it quite as much, but I did dig this album quite a bit. This one came out, I think, in 2008, and like I was saying earlier, I was all about this release when it came out. I think this is the second time that I've owned this because I wore out my first copy. Next up, we have some death metal. Unfortunately, both of the CDs that I own from this band, I only own the front liner and the CD. This is Avulsed with a gore splattered suicide. Classic death metal here. I think underappreciated sometimes. They are very sophomoric in their lyrics, kind of that gore, horror, kind of goofy, perverted lyrics, but musically, they are very, very good. I have the gore splattered suicide, and then I own Nullo, the pleasure of self mutilation. Need to pick up some more from Avulsed or Avulsed, however you want to pronounce that, because I do enjoy these two albums. This one, the Nullo, I really, really like. Gore Splattered Suicide is good as well. They've got some other material that I do enjoy. I've just never sought it out. I wish I had complete copies on those two releases as well. Next up, we have some Metalcore. This is Vultures. This is Axe Wound with Vultures. This one I enjoyed a bit more than I was expecting to. I wasn't expecting just a whole lot out of this when I first heard it, but I've dug it quite a bit, and it stood the test of the time in my collection. There was times where I was selling y'all stuff, and a lot of times, a lot of the core things in my collection were the first to get sold off and that type of stuff. But this one's actually stood up and stayed the course with me because it is pretty good. It's almost like a super group of guys in that scene, but it's good stuff. Next up, we have some Neofolk. It's kind of dark folk, dark ambient Neofolk type stuff. I can't really find a lot of information on this release. This project is still around, but even on the artist Bandcamp, they don't have this particular release even listed. This is, I'm going to butcher this, Amuri Killa, I believe is the way you pronounce the artist, and I can't. It's in Spanish. I think they're from Chile. This was limited to 25 copies. Unfortunately, it has some kind of little print blemish there on the front cover. It's good. Like I said, neo-folk, dark folk type stuff. I would like to find out a little bit more info on this particular album, but I've been unable to do so. There are other releases from this band, and I figured at least they would have the digital for this on their Bandcamp, but they do not. And it says on the back that it was only limited to 25 copies, and I was lucky enough to secure one of those. But I've tried Google searching. I've tried everything to find some more info on this album, and I can't find anything. I guess at some point I could actually message the artists themselves. But next up, we have some old school death metal, kind of this modern throwback style going on. This is Azaf with Through a Warren of Shadow. This came out last year, and this is a stellar release. I dig this one quite a bit. Features members of Skeletal Remains. I think the drummer from Skeletal Remains is in Azaf. One of the members of Dragacar. I think the guitarist is in this project. Pretty good stuff. I was surprised with how much I dug this. The Metal Archives reviews on this, I mean, you could take those or leave those. I don't really put a whole lot of stock into those reviews because some of those reviewers are not very good at what they do. But this is it was very mixed. It had very polarizing reviews, but when I actually checked it out, I was pretty blown away by this. Very good stuff here. Very good old school sounding death metal. So check out Azath if you have not done so. Next up, we have some more metalcore. This is don't be scared off when by the term metalcore on this project. This is I believe they only released like an EP and a demo. This is a compilation of that material. It's very occult type metalcore. It's a lot different than some of the other kind of cheesy metalcore stuff that was going around in this time period. This is Azazel, and the name of this compilation is Ashes to Ashes. As I said, it's just a mix of some of their demo and EP material, but this is phenomenal. This was released on Tribunal Records. I dug this one a ton more than I was expecting to. I believe I got this in one of those Tribunal grab bags, and this is one of the better releases that I got out of that. I was all prepared to just kind of write this off with it being 2008, circa 2008 metalcore. I wasn't expecting a ton out of it, but it was I dug that one quite a bit. Next up, we have some death metal from Dark Descent Records. You can't go wrong with Dark Descent. This is Backyard Mortuary with Lure of the Occult. Good kind of murky, dirty death metal. What Dark Descent label is known for and has perfected in their lineup. This fits right in. It doesn't quite have. It almost looks like it would have like a war metal sound just from the artwork. Don't let that steer you away. This is just pure, dark, murky, chunky death metal, and it's good. I love that album. Next up, let's go to the UK for a bit. This is some kind of epic symphonic black metal. This is Baal Sagoth. This is my favorite release from Baal Sagoth. This is Starfire burning upon the ice-veiled throne of Ultima Thule. I do better when I just speak. I should not even try to read this stuff because most of this I already know, and then when I start reading it, I get all twisted up. This is, like I said, my favorite Baal Sagoth release. The guys from Baal Sagoth have kind of reformed into the band Cull now, but as far as Baal Sagoth, there was a period where I wanted to pick up everything I could grab from this band, and at that time their material was insanely expensive. I don't know, it was just trying to get it because it was all imported. There was a time before the internet, Discogs, that type stuff was not a thing, and you had to try to hunt these down. You could order them like Hastings could do special orders, and Hastings isn't even around anymore, and do special orders. And when you bought imports and stuff that way, it was the price on it was just astronomical. But there was a time where I was trying to seek out as much Baal Sagoth as I could get, and then that's kind of faded over the years. Next up, this one rivals my favorite. This one rivals Starfire as far as possibly my favorite from Baal Sagoth. Unfortunately, I only own the disc to this at this point. This is the Power Cosmic. I have no recollection of what happened to the original jewel case and inserts and that type stuff, but I am glad that I still at least have the disc copy maybe at some point. That's one thing about doing these videos that I'm enjoying. It's like expanding my collection because I see stuff that I haven't listened to, haven't thought about in a while, and then it gives me that initiative to go hunt down, add to, correct issues in the collection, and add to a certain band's discography that I haven't thought about in a while. Next up, we have some more Baal Sagoth. This one is Atlantis Ascendant. I haven't spent as much time with this one as I have some of their other material. I think I found this one on eBay pretty cheap when I was just kind of searching like a generic metal CD search, and I went ahead and grabbed this one. But I haven't spent the time with this one that I probably need to, because I do enjoy everything that the members of this project have done. I mean, even the Cull stuff is phenomenal to me, so that's one that I may have to set aside and give a little bit more attention after this video. This one, funny story, this one is the Chthonic Chronicles. I probably butchered that album title. Some of you probably don't even remember this website. There was a sister site to eBay called half.com, and I'm going to show my age with that because that's where I purchased this from. It felt like a steal at the time because it still has a price tag on there. I got this for $5. I remember being so happy that I found this for $5. There were times when you didn't even pay online. Like you could buy stuff on eBay and half.com, and you would have to send a check in the mail. This was a little bit after that, but I do remember having to send like checks or money orders in the mail for an eBay purchase to pick up an album that I purchased. This one I was able to pay online and get, but I was excited when I picked that one up. I think that one came out in 2006, so it hasn't been just forever ago. But some of them, the other stuff, I do remember having to send money orders and checks in the mail to buy albums from eBay. Next up, we have some progressive. I guess this is like a mix of progressive and power metal out of England. This is a Balance of Power. This is the only release that I own from them. This is a perfect balance, but I do dig this quite a bit. Can get a bit cheesy at times. Very simplistic lyrics going on, but it's just a fun release. I can put this one in and just grin ear to ear. It puts me in a pretty good mood when I listen to it. So for that reason alone, it definitely has staying power within the collection despite its cheesiness. So pretty good stuff there from Balance of Power. I probably won't seek out their other material. That's kind of like a one and done for me as far as stuff in the collection. Next up is some stuff I've talked about here, I think in the last video, the Paragon Records. I talked about this band. This is Bane. This is melodic black metal, originally out of Serbia. I believe they have relocated to Canada. Have all three of their full lengths now. This one is Chaos, Darkness, and Emptiness. This one is a little more on the lower production side. As I was saying in that Paragon Records video, I like having all three of the Bane full lengths, and if I listen to them in its succession, I can see the improvements and the kind of growing and maturity of the band increase through each release. It's pretty neat. Like you can see the steps being taken if you listen to those three albums in a row. Not a lot of bands you can do that with, but this one I can definitely see the maturation process as the albums go. Sorry, I'm not a wordsmith. This is Bane with the Causal Fire. I love all their artwork too, and the fact that even though, like when they switched up labels and that type stuff, they stuck with the general theme. If you're going to do the digipacks, at least they're sticking with the general artwork themes and build of the digipacks to keep all their releases looking similar. Like I see one of these Bane releases, and without even seeing the band logo, I kind of get that feeling that it is a Bane release. This is my favorite release from them. This is Esoteric Formulae. This was like the culmination of the two albums leading up to this, and they just finally got it completely right with this album. If you haven't checked this one out, you should probably do that, especially if you're into melodic black metal. This one was released through Black Market Metal. Black Market Metal, I was impressed. I haven't checked them out. I don't know if they're still going at this point. I know the pandemic and everything else it put a hurting on a lot of people, but there for a while, especially with the help of the Metalhead box, like the material that I was hearing from the Black Market Metal label, man, that stuff was that was all fire. That was all good stuff. Next up, we have this one is kind of an underrated in my mind, early '90s death metal classic. This is one I don't think gets the attention that it should. This is my favorite release from this project by far. It's the only one that I own. I do want to seek out some of their other albums, but I'm sure the originals will be astronomical in price. This one was a 2006 reissue. I don't know if any of their other material has been reissued at this point. This is Baphomet with The Dead Shall Inherit. Amazing old school death metal. This is formulaic. I mean, you need to, like, with the old school death metal revival going on, this is one of those forerunners. This is the band that sets the stage. This is a band that, this is an album, I dare say, that sets the stage. This is an album that should be looked to for inspiration. This is an album that gets it almost perfect in my humble opinion. But this is a stellar release. Of course, with it being early early 90s death metal, you're going to have like those thrashy moments going on. I mean, that's just to be expected, but it is a phenomenal release. As I said, this was the 2006 reissue through Peaceville, much cheaper than the original press, so I was glad for that reissue and the ability to add that into the collection. Next up, we have some more material. I believe this is another one out of Chile. This is Barbados, I think is how you pronounce that, with Southern Pandemonic Invocations. This is stellar. I like this one. I've talked about this one in a video sometime in the past on this channel, and in that video, I was like, I'm not quite sure where this came from, but I dig it. I mean, it's good South American death metal, and I mean, it slays, and I'm pumped to have this in the collection, but I don't remember where I got it from. So, I mean, that's not a bad thing, you know. I mean, just the fact that I have it. I was going through the collection and I was like, man, I don't even remember much about that. I think I saw someone post about this either on Instagram or something one day, and I was like, man, that looks familiar. And I looked in the collection and it was there, and I was just like, I don't remember getting you. Where did you come from? But I'm glad it's there because it is that good. Next up, this one is going to be one that some people are not going to like. This is Barbaros Pomerania with Ook 300 Zradi. There was a English translation for that album title, but I don't remember it. This is I believe this band is out of either Poland or the Ukraine. It is pagan black metal. I mean, look at the artwork, look at the imagery. I'm sure you can draw your own conclusions as to what's going on there. I mean, with the symbolism on the back. Not going to get into it too terribly much. I don't remember just a ton about this release, honestly. I got this in a mixed lot of black metal CDs, and this was in there. Don't remember just a ton about it. I'll have to revisit it at some time to see if it's still worth holding a spot. Last but not least, for this video, we have a band called Barbados with Straight Metal War. This is a band out of Japan. It is kind of black and thrashy, punky metal. I don't know any other way to describe that, and it's actually pretty good. This is the only release from them that I own, but I dug it quite a bit. I was surprised to find out that they were actually from Japan as I was listening to it and going through the album. It kind of makes sense now with all the quirks going on, and it's so busy, if that makes any sense. It kind of goes hand in hand with where this band is from. But there's some definite Sabbat influence going on in this release, or Sabbath, however you want to pronounce that band name. But it's pretty good stuff there, thrashy stuff from Barbados. That's all I've got for this one. I'll try to get part 13 up sometime in the near future. So be well.